Hello, everybody. I was trying to change my background, and it took so long for this new background to load that I didn't get to do it. Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day to those of you who celebrate. Me being half Irish or almost complete. Well, I'm pretty much all four of my grandparents on my mother's side, or no, all four of her grandparents. All four of her grandparents immigrated from Ireland. And now one of them had one of them had a grandparent who was from England, but I'm almost 50% Irish, and then the other half, I'm pretty much 50% Igbo from Eastern Nigeria. But it's St. Patrick's Day, so today I'm going to celebrate the Irish half of my existence, along with several of you who are from Ireland. My mother's family all came from the Cork area, which some of you from Ireland probably disdain. But hey, I've never been there, so I'm not gonna feel bad about it or worry about it. And in fact, we're hoping to make a trip there someday. Lady Boomer and I are hoping someday to take a European tour around the kingdom, so to speak, because she has English ties and I have Irish ties, and we're gonna check that out. Also, what's interesting, another trip we're doing. I'm talking about my travel channel that I'm actually going to start posting on, which is called Marty's Big Journey. We also are planning a trip to Nova Scotia because her seven levels down great grandfather was in Nova Scotia during the American Revolutionary times, and unfortunately he was a loyalist, but he ended up in Nova Scotia, and the town that he lived in, they named the town after him, and the house that he built when he was living in that town is still standing. So we're planning on going to that town too someday. So anyway, so if as soon as I start posting on my travel channel a little more, I'll let you know and give some details about that. But anyway, in the meantime, we've got a good show today. I'm talking about, a brief talk about appropriation versus appreciation. Not that any of you probably really care about that too much. And then just, it is Woke Wednesday. It's Hump Day on the Morning Night Live. And we'll get into that right after the intro. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome back to the PDawgKnight Channel. It is Wednesday, the 17th of March, 2021. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I am so happy to see you here, and welcome back again to the PDawgKnight Channel. So, we have a little St. Patrick's Day. Is it controversy? I don't even think it's controversy. I just found some humor in it because yesterday, Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire, a bunch of people over there, tweeted something about St. Patrick's Day, where he said, tomorrow, millions of people will ruthlessly appropriate Irish culture, but it's okay and not racist because everyone knows the Irish haven't been historically oppressed and have had a pretty easy time of it overall, generally speaking. Now, I got to tell you, it's tongue-in-cheek. He's being a little silly. He's just, kind of getting a reaction, but also talking about... He was going to see what kind of reaction was. And oh boy, did he get reactions. Did he get reactions from that? So, and let's go through some of the replies here, but there's one reply in particular that I am like, oh My goodness. Now, remember, he did this tongue in cheek, although he decided he was going to talk about some of the history of, how Irish people were treated in this country, which Irish people were treated pretty poorly when they first started coming over here too, just like many other immigrants that, whoever the new kids in town are always got the kind of the shaft and weren't treated well. And then they eventually found a way to get into, and get into this simulation thing. Anyway, so someone here said, I'm pretty sure we didn't pack the Irish onto ships after buying them from their homeland. Oh, shots fired. They've had it tough, but they've never once counted as less than humans according to the law. Well, neither have the people you're talking about, bonehead. That 3/5 clause wasn't talking about counting them as less. It was talking about whether or not they had representation because they couldn't vote, but the slave owners wanted to be able to count them for apportionment as far as their representation. So that's what the 3/5 clause. It was a compromise, not based on the value of a human, but on whether or not they actually had any rights, which they did not. But the slave owners wanted to count them anyway. That's one of those, weird things that people talk about all the time that, they only counted you as 3/5 of the human. Nah, that was the point of the 3/5 clause. But anyway, someone here says, it's not appropriation if it's given away by the culture in question. How did St. Patrick's Day become such a huge cultural event in America? In part because Irish people are represented in culture determinations like TV and movies. Sounds like you want more diversity. These people are giving him serious answers for something that he is being... I would say he's being sarcastic, facetious, whatever you want to say. But people got all serious in the replies. Yes, Matt, the Irish were oppressed and they were slaves. They starved during the potato famine and came to the U.S. and were oppressed here. It's still different than being brought to this country to be a slave. At the end of the day, an Irish person is still white. Okay, yeah, anyway, lots of people responding to it, but the very best response on this topic by far came from the Embassy of Ireland, USA, who says, cultural appreciation is not cultural appropriation. That's a terrible Irish accent. I can't do an Irish accent. Ireland is the land of Sid Mil Falte. I don't know. I can't pronounce that. 100,000 welcomes, and all welcome celebrate St. Patrick's Day with us tomorrow. Terrible. I can't do an Irish accent. The Embassy of Ireland responded to him. And then people are even complaining about that. Well, how do we determine what is appreciation and what is appropriation? And how is that different than mind reading? Okay, yeah, true, whatever. It's not hard. Appreciating is celebrating culture. Appropriation is mocking it or commercializing it. Is it though? Come on, man. Anyway, you know what? I don't even want to be in this topic right now, but I just thought it was fascinating that the Embassy of Ireland actually decided to chime in. So good for them. Now, I didn't tweet out the show, did I? Well, let me do that real quick. We'll make the sausage while it's happening. We'll see. Let's see. Copy and paste. So how's everyone doing today on this fine St. Patrick's Day? I'm about to say hello to everybody, but I gotta do the tweet at least because I didn't do it. I should just here is streaming live now. And what's the link? Holy smokes. Okay, here's my question. Did any of you spend any significant time celebrating St. Patrick's Day? And I don't just mean my Irish homies out there. Any of my Americans or Australians or anybody else, do y'all celebrate St. Patrick's Day? It's basically in the United States. it's a big party that people have no idea what they're celebrating for the most part. Granted, they know that it's something about the snakes in Ireland and whatever, and St. Patrick driving them out and whatnot. But it's, you know, if you gotta be for real, it's an excuse to drink, which many of the appropriated and or appreciated holidays tend to be in the United States. I've never understood, the Cinco de Mayo. Well, even our own holidays, 4th of July. That's just a good time to drink beer and blow things up, as in fireworks, of course, not buildings or city blocks, as if you're having a protest. It's actually a celebration. Or even Halloween. Like, Halloween is like one of the most prolific days of alcohol sales that we have in this country. So I'm not sure why we tend to take certain holidays and make them drink fests. And oh, by the way, the only reason I'm not wearing green today too, I was wearing a green shirt earlier, and then I realized, oh crap, I can't wear green when I'm using green screen, because then I would look like this thing back here, and all you'd see was like this part of my arm and whatnot. So that's why I'm not wearing green. But anyway, now also the other thing, interesting, certain cities in the United States are known for their St. Patrick's Day festivities. One, obviously, Boston, also New York, Chicago, which tends to paint the entire river green. There's a huge Irish population in Chicago, but also here in St. Paul, one half of my twin cities that I live in, has always had a very prolific St. Patrick's Day celebration. People go down to, there's several bars in an area of St. Paul that are all Irish themed, and there's a big St. Patrick's Day parade here in St. Paul because there's a large Irish population. Or Irish, I wouldn't say Irish population, people of Irish descent, for whatever reason. St. Paul is one of those cities. Does anyone around you make a big deal about St. Patrick's Day? And while you're typing in answers, I'm going to say good morning to everybody. Oh, I didn't put my pop out here. Let's pop out the chat. Hey, now here's a good thing that I don't know if Streamlabs fixed this or it just fixed itself, but I'm not getting the weird extra alerts from Streamlabs today, so that's a good thing. By the way, if you, while I'm thinking about it too, also, if you like what we do sometime during the show, hit the like button if you would be so kind to share the stream out. And if you want to help us out in a green way, because, it is St. Patrick's Day, I think the laying on of the green for PDawg would be a good day for my Irish heritage. So if you want to add some green to my world, you can do that through Streamlabs or YouTube Super Chats during the show, and I'll read your special St. Patrick's Day message and or commercial for the business that you are creating out of the wonderful imagination that everyone in this show has. So there is that. Now let's say good morning to everybody real quick while I'm just blabbering on. Good morning, Becca Farley, who is first and gets the bell in the chat. Welcome, my dear, and thank you for tweeting out the show long before I did, now that I've finally done that. Also, good morning, Maddie, who also tweets out the show on the regular, and I appreciate that, of course, you know that. Good morning to, let me close that window and get this back to a page now. Oh, let's see, yeah. Cynical Lindsay, Becca Fairley, Maddie usually doesn't. I'm sure it's somewhere there. Also, good morning, Advocatus Diabli, the Devil's Advocate. Select boys in the house.
Yeah, boy.
Good morning, James, PFP. Aren't you one of my Irish folks, James? Don't you live in Ireland? I'm thinking that. Also, obviously, Mike Savage, Blarg, with the, as you can see, Mike Savage has his Irish flag as an Abbey. I wonder where Mike Savage is from. I want to change my background to the Irish flag today. Oh, that's the fireworks. Anyway, also good morning, Ryan Walters. Good morning, Jaded Emerald, who just because it's green, happy St. Patrick's Day. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations here in the Papa Bear cup, courtesy of Breckenridge, Colorado. Also, good morning, Thomas Cleaver's in the house. How you doing, my friend? Good morning to Let's see. Humble Clay, what's up? Legit Low Talkers here. Good morning. Good morning, Hig 1966. And say hi to Cindy for me in their new Florida abode in the home base. Are you guys in the home base right now? Just out of curiosity. Or have you started traveling again? Just curious. Just another day in paradise. Okay. Good morning, Attack Alpaca. Good morning, Lord Stanhope. Good morning, Ronan. Oh, Ronan, were you here for the new sound that I have for you? What happened? What happened here? Wait a minute. What the hell happened here? Anyway, Ronan. I added a trucker horn for all my trucker people. Good morning to Cultus 4, Jesse Leon. Let's see. Jonathan Peterson. Cultus. Anna Lynn, how you doing? Where am I at here? Good morning, Katie Descate, Chicago Mike. Ryan Walters, I said already. Bastard Beast is in the house. Zablé is in the house. I don't know why I laugh every time I say Zablé, because like I said, I feel like, okay, first of all, I guess you'd have to know who Hervé Villachez is, but every time I say Zablé, I feel like I'm imitating Hervé Villachez. And if you know who Hervé Villachez is, type that in the chat. Let's see how many people know their. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to give you a hint. Hervé Villachez. Zablé. Okay. Good morning, Terai Deos. How you doing? Also, Woodcut is in the house. Let's see. Am I missing anybody here yet? HP Lovecraft. What's up? There's Zablé again. I can't help it. Spambot 22. What's happening? And I got pretty much everybody here. Oh, Infamous One is here. How you doing? And the Pissed Off Shih Tzus in the house. Cynical Lindsay. What's happening? Uncle Bad Touch.
Come on, man.
We know who you are. Hello, Snoopy. And I think I've got. Oh, Sean's in the house. How you doing, Sean? Am I caught up yet? San, what's happening? There's a whole bunch of people here, and I'm at least touching base with everyone who's popped into the chat. I appreciate everyone here. But if I missed you, I'll try to catch up on the later. But there's holy moly, you guys are all in here. And Justin Anderson, yes, I said that. Egg W, nice to see you. I've noticed you commenting in the comment section. I do appreciate that. Good morning, Teresa the Kid. Yeah, if you are watching on a replay, or even if you missed part of the show, drop me a comment in the comment section so that I know you were here. Let me do this real quick. I gotta fix this. I didn't reset the old counter there. All right, so now people have an opportunity to still be the YouTube Superstar Donor of the Day. All right, let's get into it today on Woke Wednesday, Hump Day, on the Morning Night Live. Let me take a sip. But if you have a cup, take a sip now. All right. Holy smokes, there's already 40 some people here. That's pretty cool. All right, let's get into it. Fantasy Island midget. Yes. Or little person. Yes, Hervé Villachez was, what was his character called? Tattoo on Fantasy Island. If you have no idea who that is, you'll have to look that up. Tattoo. Also, good morning, Noah Reed. How you doing? All right, let's get into this. The Glendalough Saint? Who is that? Oh, by the way, there was a rest in peace up here. For who? Who was that for? Pot of gold, error in your favor, collect $1,400. Yeah, the stim checks are coming out, which I am not sure when ours is ever going to get here. We never got the first one, so we're still waiting for. But I got a feeling that we had to send in some paperwork or something, and I think we're going to get them all as a giant sum. So hopefully that happens. Rest in peace, Khan Noonien Singh. I'm not familiar with that. Who that is? Let me look that up. Because I don't know who that is. I know also the actor Yaphet Kotto passed away yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday. If you're not familiar with Yaphet Kotto, he was one of the villains in Live and Let Die. He was also in, I can't remember he was on some drama, TV cop drama. I can't remember the name of it, but he's an actor you would know. If you don't know who he is, you would immediately recognize his face because he's been in several movies, but mostly known for, or best known for his role in Live and Let Die. Rest in peace, Yavakoto. Let's see. I'm not sure who Khan. Noonien. Okay, Noonien Singh. Let's see. Khan Noonien Singh is a fictional character in Star. Oh, a fictional character in Star Trek science fiction franchise. The character first appeared in Star Trek, the original series. Is that like the Khan is in Wrath of Khan? That Khan? Why are we RMPing Khan? Played by Ricardo Montalban, reprised role. Did Ricardo Montalban died several years ago, didn't he? Let's see. Ricardo Montalban. No, Herb Velasquez was a tattoo. Ricardo Montalban. Yeah, he died in 2009. But, okay, gotcha. Yeah, he's not, no. Herb Velasquez is not Khan. That was Ricardo Montalban. All right. It's like, you all crack me up. All right. Let's get into it. It is Woke Wednesday, but first, this is a sad story, and it's fascinating for a couple reasons. So we've been talking a lot about the rash of anti-Asian hate crimes or crimes, and it seems like now we finally got one that the suspect at least somewhat matches the narrative, and you know that by the fact that they're showing his picture already almost immediately when they haven't really shown the pictures of the suspects or the perpetrators in a lot of these crimes. But 8 dead, suspect in custody after shootings at a Georgia massage parlor. The suspect was busted Tuesday evening for the slayings of 8 people in the shootings at 3 massage parlors staffed primarily by Asian women in Atlanta and a suburb. Police said the suspected gunman, Robert Aaron Long, 21, of Woodstock, Georgia, was captured Tuesday night about 150 miles south of Atlanta. Authorities believe Long opened fire on 5 people shortly before 5 p.m. in Young's Asian Massage in Cherokee County, Georgia. Officials said 4 of the victims of that shooting died, according to the sheriff's office. The victim, including 2 Asian women, a Caucasian woman, and a Caucasian man, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. So 2 Asian women, a Caucasian woman, and a Caucasian man. Footage posted to social media showed a large police presence outside the businesses with cruisers blocking traffic to a busy highway. And good morning, Dad of Wasteland, by the way, and also Amy. How you doing? Nice to see you. Less than an hour later, 4 people were killed in shootings at 2 spas in Piedmont Road in Atlanta, city police said. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office spokesman Captain Jay Baker said Long is also the likely suspect in the Atlanta shootings. So, and then this is the guy. Okay, so they get their. I don't want to be cynical about this because it's very sad that this happened. But I'm just fascinated that they already have the picture up with the perpetrator, and you can take that for what it's worth. But what I've also found is now I've seen all over Twitter. Let's see. In fact, he's pictures all over Twitter. What's his name again? Hang on a second. It's I wish they wouldn't even. Well, we know why they put his name out there, but let's see. What's his name? Robert Aaron Long. Okay, let's copy. We're going to put that into the search on Twitter. And, oh, yeah, even one of the searches says Robert Aaron Long Trump. See, because they're trying to tie Trump to this. In fact, somebody even already made a fake Twitter account for him. Oh, open March 2021. It's funny how they do this. Someone would make a fake Twitter account. This account is documenting the past behavior of the accused mass shooter. Well, how can he accuse that shooter? Have you seen? Oh, no, I have not. No, I have not, Data Wasteland. I've not seen that footage. Brian said, please recall. Okay, this is just talking. This account is whatever. Let's go back here though. So let's see. Breaking 21-year-old Robert Erlong, accused gunman in Cherokee County spa shooting, has been apprehended in Crisp County, Georgia. Yada yada. Tonight, Robert Erlong, a 21-year-old white male, traveled to 3 massage parlors and killed 8 people. 6 of them were Asian women. This is the America we're living. Well, this is Joe Biden's America, people. This is Joe Biden's America. Just saying, it is. This is the America we're living in. The surge in Asian American hate crimes is poignant and real. Let's follow this thread along. It's disgusting to see bigoted actions of so many people in the country that we've grown up in. We are less of an American citizen because of the color of our skin. We struggle with microaggressive remarks from our peers every single day. Okay, so this is the one white male that they can point to. It's not the only one, because I've seen a couple other where the perpetrator of the so-called hate crime or whatever has been a white male. A vast majority of the perpetrators have been of a different demographic, and not all. I'm not saying all of my demographic either. They've been of different demographics, and also there is a surge in violent crime in the country right now. Period. So if it's affecting more Asians, it's also affecting more of us, more white people, more everybody. Particularly in the murder department, where that is up in some places as much as 100%, or in some places it's ridiculous how much these types of crimes are up. So the idea that it would also affect other demographics, I'm not necessarily surprised, but there is a narrative that we're working on right now, trying to make sure that we can blame this on this white guy and it's all Trump's fault. Here's one. As an Asian American, I cannot stay silent. Robert Erlong murdered 8 Asian people. No, he didn't. He murdered 4 Asian people and 4 white people. Just telling the truth. He went to several different massage parlors and shot multiple workers. If you feed off our culture, you should care. Don't stay silent. Okay, so here's one. Elijah McClain beaten and choked by police while trying to offer positive affirmation, then lethally injected with ketamine, just walking home. White mass murderer goes on a killing spree, armed, apprehended, alive, and unharmed. That's it. That's what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Different jurisdictions, different like, okay, so are you saying there are no black people unapprehended, alive, and not harmed? This guy gave himself up. You know what? How could there be so many people in jail if they were all getting killed? It's amazing how people want to twist this around whatever narrative they want to make. And by the way, how far into the stream am I? Long enough to say, fuck this guy? Fuck this guy. He can go straight to hell if they find out that he's actually the one who did it. Fuck this guy. Put him under the jail for all I care. I don't give a shit about him. But and again, but the narrative. White guy goes on shooting rampage, killing Asian women in Atlanta. Looks like the typical mass shooter, aka MAGA QAnon member. Well, let's talk a little bit about this guy, because I decided I'm going to check out if there's any articles about him, or if anyone's found his social media presence, or if anyone wants to tie him to anything in particular, because you would expect that immediately if they have a picture of a guy that looks like this. being caught for this particular shitty act, which put his ass under the jail, or better yet, how about building a new jail and putting him in the foundation for all I care. Here we go though. The Daily Beast has looked him up, and I'm going to read this article and I'm going to see if perhaps you notice anything significant about this article, about this particular asshole. Okay, massage parlor massacre suspect said he loved guns and God. Okay, at least 6 of the victims were Asian women, and a 21-year-old was in custody. There are rap songs about Asians not trusting banks and having lots of cash on hand. No, but there's, yeah, that's the, especially in San Francisco, where 85% of the crimes against Asians are people trying to rob them for their money. Anyway, Atlanta. Remember, you're listening. I'm going to read this whole article. It's from the Daily Beast, and I want you to see if you notice anything significant about this article. A Georgia man who professed a passion for guns and God was in custody Tuesday night after a string of shootings that police said appeared to target Asian women at massage parlors and left 8 people dead. Robert Aaron Long, 21, of Woodstock, Georgia, was caught on video at the crime scenes and later nabbed on a highway 2 hours south of Atlanta following a police chase, authorities said. Police stressed that it was too early to announce a motive, but at least 4 of those killed were of Korean descent, and the horrific attacks come amid a wave of, again, here's the narrative. The horrific attacks come amid a wave of targeted violence against the Asian American community. Again, let's go from this narrative where, isn't there, we've seen all the stories about how violent crime is up across the board. So it's hard to say, is this because it's targeted violence against them for any reason, or is it something that's just increased in places where there are crimes, violent crimes, where Asian people happen to live? That's just a question that I need to ask because I'm tired of hearing this narrative. Good morning, Fox P2, by the way. A trickle of detail about the suspect, who went by his middle name, offered few clues. Pizza, guns, drums, music, family, and God. This pretty much sums up my life. It's a pretty good life, read the tagline on an Instagram account that appeared to belong to Long, a student who graduated from Sequoia High School with long hair in 2017, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, told the Daily Beast, wait a minute, what? Why are they describing this student that's talking about the guy? Anyway, a student graduated from Sequoia High with long in 2017, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, told the Daily Beast, quote, he was very innocent seeming and wouldn't give even cuss. He was sort of nerdy and didn't seem violent from what I remember. He was a hunter and his father was a youth minister or pastor. He was big into religion. Okay. The rampage began at Young's Asian Massage in Ackworth in Cherokee County, where 2 people were killed. One other person succumbed to their injuries en route to a nearby hospital, and 1 died while in treatment, according to the sheriff's office. The victims were 2 Asian women, a white woman, and a white man, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. A Hispanic man was also injured in the shooting and was rushed to a hospital for medical treatment, a spokesman for the sheriff said. About an hour later, 30 miles away, 2 spas on the same Atlanta street, Gold Spa and one in aromatherapy spa, were targeted by gunfire. That was their words. I'm just reading it as it is. Good morning, Gamer Valine, by the way. And 4 Asian women were killed. Officers had just arrived at one of the spas to find the victims when they were summoned to the second. While at the first location, we received another call across the street of shots fired and responded to find another individual shot at that location, Atlanta Police Chief Rodney M. Bryant told reporters. While no details about the Ackworth victims were given, Bryant said that it appears that all of the Atlanta victims are female, and it appears that they may be Asian. Okay, we found that, the two up there. Two men who live just across from Gold Massage Spa who refused to give their names said their neighbors started asking them about the incident around 6:15 p.m. They said the area was very diverse, but the spa was known to be an Asian-owned business. This is the worst shooting since 99, I think, one of the men told the Daily Beast. There was a shooting there when a guy went through his office and killed a bunch of people, and he killed his family. That was 12 people, I think, so this is the worst one since I've been here. Cherokee County Sheriff Captain Jay Baker told reporters, nothing's going to be ruled out. Wherever the investigation leads us, that's where we are going to go. Atlanta Police said video surveillance of Long's car at all three massage parlors captured Tuesday night made it extremely likely he was the main suspect in all three shootings. Baker said that Long was arrested by Crisp County Sheriff's officers who performed a pit maneuver, or a pursuit intervention technique in which police force another car to plow sideways and stop. Long's family did not respond to calls for comment. His youth pastor at the Crabapple First Baptist Church confirmed he was the suspect and said elders would be releasing a statement. A 2018 video on the Crabapple Facebook page features Long discussing his Christian journey towards baptism. As many of you remember, when I was 8 years old, I thought I was becoming a Christian, and I got baptized during that time. And I remember a lot of the reason for that is a lot of my friends in my Sunday school class were doing that, Long says in the clip. And after that time, there wasn't any fruit from the root that is our salvation. He goes on to say that when he was in 7th grade, he attended a youth group, and a speaker was discussing the biblical story of the prodigal son. The son goes off and squanders all that he has and lives completely for himself. And then when he finds he's wanting to eat pig food, he's realized there's something wrong, and he goes back to his father, and his father runs back to him and embraces him. And by the grace of God, I was able to draw a connection there and realize this is a story between what happened with me and God. I ran away completely living for myself, and he still wants me. And so that's when I was saved. The FBI joined the investigation late Tuesday and President Biden was also briefed on the massacre. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who is in South Korea, mentioned the killings before a meeting, officials said, "We are horrified by this violence, which has no place in America or anywhere," he said, according to the Associated Press. Now, what's fascinating about this, and I'm going to step just for pause here, there's violence every day in America. But this is the only one that they mention. I'll come back to that in a second. President Joe Biden recently condemned a surge of crimes of hate, which include a brazen, deadly assault on an 84-year-old man from Thailand who was killed on a morning stroll in the San Francisco Bay Area. I wonder if we have a profile of that person who got arrested for that. The Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus said it was horrified by the news of the shooting at the time when we are already seeing a spike in anti-Asian violence. The legal advocacy nonprofit Asian Americans Advancing Justice Atlanta released a statement saying the group was shaken by the shootings. Now is the time to hold the victims and their families in our hearts and with light. Now, the Daily Beast. This is the Daily Beast article we just read. They seem to have found an Instagram account for this guy. Anyone know what's missing here in this article from the Daily Beast, which is left side of the aisle publication? What's missing in that article? Anybody know? These attacks, I can guarantee, are a result of CRT indoctrination that is being spread throughout the country, something that Biden fully supports. That's an interesting way to look at it, Lindsay. Wonder how many black kids were killed in Chi-Town yesterday that no one is mentioning. Well, I don't like to use Chicago, even though Chicago is one of those cities, and many cities where there's people being killed every day that nobody talks about. There's one kid that in particular, it stuns me that nobody talks about. And I have to, and in fact, I have to go back and look for his name because nobody's talking about him. And where is it here? Let me see if I can find it. I'm just looking through my, because I tweeted about him not that long ago. And I can't even remember his name because nobody's talking about him. Shoot, I can't even find it. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find it in here. I feel bad that I can't even find his name. Imez Wright. Imez Wright. I-M-E-Z Wright. W-R-I-G-H-T. Any of you know who that is? Imez Wright. Imez Wright is a young man. I believe, well, young man. He's 30 years old. Who was murdered in the George Floyd Autonomous Zone, which is an area in Minneapolis right now near where George Floyd passed away. That is currently kind of occupied, so to speak, and blocked off by mostly those black-clad knuckleheads that some people call a myth, and it's by activists where they've blocked off a couple block area of Minneapolis and call it an autonomous zone, kind of like the Chad back in Seattle. Remember the Chad or Chaz or whatever the hell you want to call it? Well, we have one in Minneapolis called the George Floyd Autonomous Zone. And Imez Wright was murdered there. And when he was shot, I believe, it was some sort of drive. I don't even know how they got a car there because they say it was a drive-by shooting. In a zone where they claim they are no longer part of the United States of America. Oh, I thought that was, isn't that what's that called? Insurrection or sedition or something? But when he was killed, or excuse me, when he was shot, because he hadn't died yet, the people in the autonomous zone wouldn't let emergency vehicles into the area to take care of him. And they wouldn't let police in the area to investigate. And so this guy, he just died. There was another guy that was in critical condition in this shooting. Don't know their name. Haven't heard that name much? Oh, that's right. Because maybe that particular black life doesn't matter, or at least not in the big picture. But there are thousands of Imez Wrights around the country, not necessarily killed in autonomous zones, but there's in fact there was it was a shooting of, I think 8 people died, or 8 people were shot recently in Philadelphia. Didn't really make national news. I happened to catch it because I was watching somebody else who mentioned it. And I just, I don't, but this is since right now we're only focusing on Asian people. And again, this dude, what's his name? This dickhead, Robert Aaron Long, FTG, man. See you, don't want to be ya. Whatever. Thank you, Piccolo, by the way. Piccolo. I have my horn for all my trucker listeners. Thank you so much, Mikalo, for the super chat through the YouTubes. I appreciate you very much. No message, but just a big thumbs up, which reminds the rest of you, hey, hit that thumbs up if you like what's going on here. And I'll remind you often during the show. But I find it fascinating that this guy's face is going to be plastered all over everything, and we're going to be hearing constantly about white supremacy and blaming. Oh, this is clearly this guy's clearly Trump's fault. But did we figure out what was missing in that article though? Let's see. Let me look through here. I'm going to scroll through the chat. St. Patrick is missing. No, that's not it. Let's see. Motive? No. Yeah, motive. Well, they don't know the motive yet. The police don't know the motive. If they found his social media, here it is. If they found his social media and didn't tell us all his hate-filled posts, it makes me assume there were none. Yes. They found his social media, but haven't related that he was a MAGA person, or doesn't have a bunch of hateful posts, or doesn't represent, he's in Georgia, so he doesn't represent MTG or something. This guy has to be a Joe Biden guy. At least if they haven't already mentioned President Trump in the Daily Beast after looking at his social media, I got a feeling that this guy supports Joe Biden, that this guy is surely riding with the dude that can't remember his where his tie is. I almost can guarantee that if they've already looked at his social media presence and they haven't mentioned Trump or Republicans or, MAGA or anything like that, this guy, well, we got an idea. Now, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. It's possible. I've been wrong more than once in my life. It's interesting because the Daily Beast I didn't mean to. Here, let me undo that. I don't want to reopen tab. There we go. I want to make sure I have this article in the tabs for you when I do my, at the end of the show, by the way, any article that I feature during the show will be listed in the description down below. I'll have a link after the show that will have every single article that we cover during the show. So check that, or you can also check the Discord server. They will have that down in the, I'll have it in the Discord server too. I post all the shows in there. So, but yeah, this guy. Now, I also wanted to look at this article that they linked to in the Daily Beast. It's a lunar year. It's Lunar New Year, but Asian Americans in the Bay Area are afraid to go out. Interesting. Now, this is back on February 12th. A 91-year-old man shoved to the ground, a 71-year-old woman attacked and robbed, an 84-year-old man who died after being assaulted on his morning walk. As Lunar New Year begins Friday, Asian Americans in the San Francisco Bay Area are afraid to leave their homes, not just because of the coronavirus, but because of a spate of high-profile attacks against elders in recent months. On Tuesday, Nancy O'Malley, the district attorney of Alameda County, which includes Oakland, said she would be establishing a special response unit to investigate anti-Asian crimes. We will help victims heal from their trauma with the help of businesses to be strong again. Here in Chinatown, we will be vigilant in protecting the Asian community, O'Malley said at a press conference in Oakland. Yet others say it's indicative of historic neglect from officials in investing in their communities, a disparity exacerbated by the coronavirus pandemic and by politicians like former President Donald Trump using racist language like China virus or Kung flu. Really? Yeah, because all the brothers attacking these Asians in Chinatown are just absolute, just live and die by the words of Donald Trump, right? And Donald Trump is no longer the president. Why is it also, this is also fascinating. How is it that, because that, the last, he mentions this things from China. Why wasn't this happening all of last year if it has something to do with Trump talking about this? Why is it we're all of a sudden hearing about all this Asian hate crime after the Biden administration comes out? Were there no news people out there looking for this while Trump was still president? Was this happening while Trump was still president? Or is it suddenly happening during the Biden administration? Again, this is Biden's America now. Why is it all happening now? I mean, if this was the case during the shutdowns and there's all this, anti-Asian hate crime, why didn't it start till after Joe Biden became president? Because were any of you hearing this before this? But now but is it that they need to talk about Trump so bad that they're going to continue to try to put this on him? I don't get it. He's gone. They barely see him. He's had one, although I think he did a TV interview the other night. It's amazing. But anyway, I'll leave that article open and put it in the tabs too, but I just found it fascinating that they're talking about this. But when is it happening? Anyway, thank you, Piccolo, another for sponsoring the show, by the way. And a second time. First, assumption is the mother of all F-ups. Yes, it is. And also another sponsoring the show through YouTube Super Chat. Because Russia, yeah, right? Everything's because Russia, though. No, Dems need a new boogeyman. Their fearmonger war needs ammo. Yeah, pretty much. Bay Area is so tolerant. The Daily Beast are propaganda arm of the DNC. Fuck. Well, and the reason I used the Daily Beast is I thought for sure they would already know. They would already know about this guy, right? And I laugh because as I look at the people talking about this on various, various people talking about this on Twitter, this guy is already, they have him as some MAGA guy. Sorry, he's not. I hate to tell you. It's funny because, yeah, one of the top search, I put in Robert Aaron Long in the search bar on Twitter, and the first one that comes up, Robert Aaron Long Trump. In fact, let's click that. See what people found. Here, I'll put them on the screen because you're desperate to tie this to Trump. Robert, people should take 5 and wait for the evidence to come in before saying that Robert Aaron Long was inspired by Donald Trump's anti-American Asian racism. I don't recall Trump's anti-Asian racism. He did say where this virus was coming from, and when they tried to say, oh no, Chinese said it was coming from America, no.
China is asshole.
No, it didn't come from the United States. It didn't come from Italy. It came from the Wuhan area, and it stopped trying to say otherwise. Look, we just don't know if it's true. It also could have been Kevin McCarthy's or even Tucker Carlson's. Oh, well, let's just blame it on some Republican. Yeah, just let's blame it on some random Republican. Yep, that's how it's working. What's the over-under on Robert Aaron Long being a Trump supporter and QAnon believer? Well, if the Daily Beast didn't find it, look, Garrett, look. I guarantee you, if the Daily Beast in this article, who's looked at his social media, would have found in his social media that he was any of those things, do you think we would know it right now? Ha! Damn right we would. Hello, Gen T. Nice to see you. You damn Skippy, we would already know. So apparently they didn't find it. Oh, and then here's Ron. Oh, this other thing with Ron Johnson, by the way, when he was talking about how if the Capitol riot had been Black Lives Matter and or Antifa, he would have been more worried. Why? Because they have a history of burning shit down. Okay? So everyone's trying to say, oh, he's less afraid of white people. No, he's less afraid of people who don't have a history of burning shit down and killing people. Even though, yes, some of these assholes were violent in the Capitol riots. But anyway, Ron Johnson isn't afraid of Robert Aaron Long because he's one of them. Fuck you. He is who Hawley, Cruz, McConnell, Marjorie Greene, Hannity, Tucker Carlson, MAGA, their daddy Donald Trump are emboldened. Will they denounce crime against Asian Americans or nah because minorities aren't one of them? Fuck you and fuck this asshole who shot these people. I'm gonna get a yellow $sign today. I don't give a shit. Fuck this asshole who killed these people. And the over and under is that no, he probably voted for Biden. They looked at his social media, didn't mention any political affiliation, mentioned God and guns, but if they haven't mentioned a political affiliation yet, you pretty much know that nope, not Trump related. But we'll find out eventually, I suppose. Hearing President Trump hit Joe Biden for his failed work on H1N1 will never get old. Could Robert Aaron Long is a result of President Trump? That make you giggle too? Oh, you got any evidence? Uh-oh, wait a minute. That guy was a lifelong Bernie Democratic voter, nothing to do with Trump. How do we know that? Literally, is a Trump supporter or white supremacist? Sit this one out. You got a link? You got a link? You got any proof of that? Because the Daily Beast sure hasn't found anything yet. I'm not gonna interact with this shithead. Who's this? Let me guess. Yeah, no, I'm not. That's hilarious. How do you know this? I haven't found anything yet. Let's see if anyone's actually found something. This is Robert R. Long, the white supremacist. Say what? Do you have do you have evidence of that? Has anybody have any evidence of that? Likely Trump supporter who shot and killed 8 people. How do you know he's an asshole who needs to be buried under the jail? But where do you get this from? Oh, okay, here we go. I bet this is fake. Here it is. China engaged in a COVID cover-up. They blocked our investigators from going to their lab in Wuhan and finding the truth about experiments they were conducting there. If they're innocent, why block? China must be hiding something. They now know the Wuhan virus was created and killing 500 million Americans, or 500,000 Americans, was just a part of their plan to secure global domination for the 21st century. All Americans need to fight back against China. Now, Republicans, Democrats, we all need to stand against China, the greatest evil of our time. Interesting. What are the chances this is real? Yesterday at 1:45 a.m., this guy, rumored to be heavily into church and lived in Marjorie Taylor Greene's congressional district. Oh, they're linking it up now. Wonder where he got his deranged ideas. And here's one of these bullshit things. You know what? Do you really want to go through a list of people armed and arrested now they cherry pick. They cherry pick the ones that were the ones they don't like. Again, and also look at the timeline here. This is from 6 years ago, this guy. Unbelievable they do this. God damn. This guy was not armed when he was arrested. It's amazing. You know, people want there to be this type of division. It's just sad. Let's see. Here we go. Georgia shooter Aaron Long seems to have been motivated to kill exclusively Asian women due to racism. We don't have a motive yet. God. But you're assuming he was heavily involved in a local church. We've seen the alt-right and Christianity come together during the Trump era, and now this. Apparently the Daily Beast hasn't found anything yet. Let's see if this one. Robert Long, 21. Trump-era rhetoric, as well as ongoing divisive alternative reality the GOP pushes, has consequences. Again, you have no evidence of that. Anyway, what's this down here? What's this? You got the picture of him. Oh, MAGA Trump-inspired Robin Aaron Long, mass female killer of 8, China virus hate speech. Okay, if I swear to you right now, if they had evidence of them being a Trump supporter, do you think it would just be plastered all over his page? Notice, not a single one has receipts, but they sure like to talk about him. And if he is, fuck him too. I don't care. He's an asshole. He needs to be under the jail. I don't care who he supports. He's an asshole. Let's put pictures up of every single person who's perpetrated a so-called hate crime, a violent crime against somebody Asian. Then let's put up pictures of every single one of them. See where we got. And because this is just shit that people are trying to create division and point fingers at people who maybe don't think the same way as they do politically. It's their one hammer and everything's a fucking nail. I'm done with this shit. Let's get back to Woke Wednesday because I've spent enough time on this asshole. Here's a good one. Teachers compile a list of parents who question racial curriculum and plot a war on them. Oh, what could happen? Infiltrate, shut down their websites, expose these people publicly. A group of current and former teachers and others in London County, Virginia, compiled a lengthy list of parents suspected of disagreeing with school system actions, including its teaching of controversial racial concepts with a stated purpose, in part to infiltrate, use hackers to silence parents' communications, and expose these people publicly. Members of the 624-member private Facebook group called Anti-Racist Parents of London County named parents and plotted fundraising and other offline work. Some use pseudonyms, but the Daily Wire has identified them as a who's who of the affluent jurisdiction outside D.C., including school staff and elected officials. The Sheriff's Criminal Investigation Division is reviewing the matter, but the group's activities might be no surprise to top law enforcement because the county's prosecutor, narrowly elected with the help of $845,000 in cash, with $845,000 in cash from George Soros, appears to be a member of the Facebook group. Fantastic! Secret communications reviewed on the Daily Wire do not offer any evidence of racism by the group's targets or even attempts to. Their opponents were apparently those who objected to, sought to debate, or were even simply neutral about critical race theory, a radical philosophy opposed by many liberals and conservatives, but increasingly embraced by governments. In recent years, London's school system has flooded its curricular and policies with racial rhetoric, paying about $500,000 to one racial consulting company alone. It required all staff to undergo equity in the center training. Again, there's that word equity. When you see the word equity, you better run. That promoted a sense of injustice and urgency. The school system proposed then withdrew a policy that would ban teachers from disagreeing with the school's racial philosophies, even when not on school district property. Oh my God, they were trying to ban thought. In January 2020, the school's board's equity committee voted unanimously to, quote, provide equity in the center like training to parents. So they're going to train the parents too. Now, as the school-backed efforts to change the thinking of adults seemingly succeeded, the community has collapsed in acrimony. A criminal review has been opened, and a school board member has been stripped of her duties. What follows is the story of the wealthiest county in America descending into a moral panic as a group of suburban white women egged each other on to extremes against perceived evil, while the school system seemed to slide from serving taxpayers to targeting them. Yeah, read the rest of this. You'll be disgusted. It's just, it's crazy. But if you're not woke enough, they're going to come after you. Period. Moving on. Let's see. What was this one? So the other day I told you about how the National Guard of Guam showed up at Marjorie, what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene's office. And there's a little bit of a backlash. We stop this or America is done. Uniformed members of the Guam National Guard marched on the Capitol office of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene Monday in response to her having erroneously claimed last month the U.S. territory was a foreign country. A fierce backlash erupted online over the use of the military for a political stunt, which should be done. That is, every single one of those people should be reprimanded for participating in that bullshit. In violation of Defense Department regulations. During an unannounced visit led by Guam's only congressional delegate, Representative Michael San Nicolas, Democrat of course, more than 20 Guam National Guard troops briefly met with one of Greene's aides who stated the Congresswoman was not presently in her office. The 3-minute clip documenting the event was posted later that day, showing San Nicolas delivering a basket of chamorro chip cookies, a staple dessert enjoyed by Guamanians, along with the book about the island's history. Sure, he could have just dropped that off himself and not look. The intimidation, putting National Guard troops in front of someone's office, complete and utter bullshit. That is absolutely a misuse of military personnel, and I don't care if they're your National Guard unit from your state, territory, or what. That's a bullshit move. We are witnessing the unabashed politicization of our military in violation of law and Department of Defense regulations, wrote former CIA officer Brian Dean Wright. We stop this or America's done, he added. No free nation lasts when this stuff becomes the norm. So absolutely right. And other people talking about this from various walks in tweets. I'm not going to go through all these, but that was while I'm swearing, that was a bullshit move. That was straight up bullshit. Moving on. Apparently in California, they've proposed a bill removing cops who express religious or conservative beliefs. Hey, fan-fucking-tastic. A new bill introduced. Now, this is... okay, the interpretation here is interesting. A new bill introduced by California State Assembly member Ash Kalra in San Jose would prohibit police officers from serving if they have used arbitrarily defined, quote, hate speech, or are affiliated with a, quote, hate group, end quote. The bill, known as California Law Enforcement Accountability Reform Act, the CLEAR Act, they're so good at naming things, claims to combat, quote, the infiltration of extremists in our law enforcement agencies, end quote, and would mandate a background check for all officers who have, quote, exchanged racist and homophobic messages, end quote. Kalra claims that AB 655 is necessary to prevent the apparent cooperation, participation, and support of some law enforcement in the January 6th Capitol breach. The bill defines hate speech as, quote, as advocating or supporting the denial of constitutional rights, the genocide of, getting a little hype here, or violence toward any group or person based on race, ethnicity, nationality, religion, gender identity, sexual orientation, or disability, end quote. That's vague. Pacific Justice Institute senior staff attorney Matthew McReynolds said this broad and purposely arbitrary definition could give way for Christians and conservatives to be classified as hateful based on the premise of rejecting abortion or supporting Proposition 8 in California, a same-sex amendment that passed in 2008. McReynolds also questioned how this would affect those of the Muslim faith, since many religious mosques and followers have taken a stance against homosexuality. Well, of course, they are top tier on the what's it called, the oppression totem pole, so maybe they can get away with it there. Hello, Mr. Yes. Under the guise of addressing police gangs, the bill at the same time launches an inexplicable, unwarranted, and unprecedented attack on the peaceful, conscientious officers who happen to hold conservative political and religious views, wrote Reynolds. Indeed, this is one of the most undisguised and appalling attempts we have ever seen in more than 20 years of monitoring such legislation on the freedom of association and the freedom to choose minority viewpoints. But the bill's woke. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
It's woke. Oh God, it's crazy, man. What's going on? Moving on, Minneapolis business owners. Oh, we talked about George Floyd Square, right? The autonomous zone that's been created in a certain section of Minneapolis. Well, the business owners in the area begged the cops for help. They want this shit to stop. Now that, I don't know why they use this photo. That's from back in last year. But anyway, George Floyd Square is a small quadrangle of city streets in Minneapolis that was renamed following the controversial death of George Floyd while in police custody. Since then, a memorial for Floyd has gone up opposite Cup Foods on 38th Street. The city placed barricades on some streets surrounding the memorial to prevent cars from hitting demonstrators. Naturally, this has made it next to impossible for local businesses to operate. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. The city's so quick, giving $27 million to his family, but they can give two shits about the people who live in this area and normally would be paying them taxes, but you know how that goes. It got worse when gangs began a turf war. The barricades have morphed from barriers to keep protesters safe to weapons to prevent police from doing their jobs. The barriers are guarded and patrolled by activists who won't allow the cops to pass. Activists, aka an idea called Antifa. Even when there are calls for help, the mostly black-owned businesses have had just about enough and are pleading with the city to remove the barricades and allow traffic to flow. Everyone from the mayor to the chief of police to the local clergy have been asking for the same thing for months, and with the gangs taking shots at each other, you're risking your life by walking the streets anywhere near the memorial. I get to hear from all the people no one wants to listen to. City Council member Alondra Cano told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, I get to hear from the black elderly woman who has to sleep in her bathtub so she can avoid being shot at night. I get to hear from other black elderly women who has chronic pain and can't access the bus and therefore can't go grocery shopping. And I get to hear from the residents who text me when there's bullets zinging by their faces in the middle of the day as they're gardening. From the Star-Tribune, this was Blood's territory, said Pastor Curtis Farrer of Worldwide Outreach for Christ, which sits across the intersection. A lot of the gangs are right over there now. A lot of people that go to this church used to be in that gang, drug dealers and all that. Police can and sometimes do access the square, but protesters there do not welcome them. Agape, a peacekeeping force whose staff includes ex-gang members from the neighborhood, is on contract with the city to keep watch over the area. On March 6th, 2 people were shot there. 30-year-old Imez Wright, a mentor for black youth in St. Paul, was killed. I'm afraid, I am frustrated, I'm mentally ill right now, said Dwight Alexander through the takeout window of smoke in the pit, jabbing his temples with the tips of his index fingers for emphasis. I've set my mind every day to come up here and try to make a way for my family, and the city took away my rights. They took away my finances. How do you think I feel? Put yourself in my shoes or my family's shoes. And then it just goes, Sam Willis, another business owner, added, we just need these streets to be open. We need police in this area. This is like Mexico in the United States. 37th Street. Oh, wait, yo. Watch your racism there, buddy. Anyway, 37th Street is the United States. You come out here, it's like Mexico. So a person can commit a crime on 37th Street, and if they run over here, the police are not going to come. They park stolen cars here. Yeah, it's become a so-called autonomous zone. The Antifa people are out there. Remember we showed you the reporter who was trying to do a report from there, and he was outside the barricades, and they said, you need to get out of here. Something bad's going to happen. What? I'm not even in the barricades. No, you need to go, or something bad will happen. Like they were threatening a reporter. Thank you, Gamer Valine, sponsoring the show through Super Chats. Can we call it the Justice Independent Zone? I'd like to call it, I'm not going to say what I was just going to say. Thank you, Gamer Valine, for sponsoring the show. Appreciate you very much, as always. Next, in Texas, apparently now this is some bullshit too, and I'll call this shit out too. A Texas restaurant was vandalized with racist graffiti after owner denounced the end of the mask mandate. I was prepared for something like this, but I didn't think it was actually going to happen. And a San Antonio ramen restaurant was vandalized with racist graffiti just days after its owner, an Asian American man, blasted the state's move to end the mask mandate. Mike Nguyen discovered the messages scribbled in red paint all over the front of his ramen shop, Noodle Tree, early Sunday, following an appearance on CNN where he blasted Governor Greg Abbott's call to reopen the state. Some of the messages included "Go back to China," "Ramen noodle flu," and "Hope you die," as well as one that specifically referenced "no masks," according to the New York Post. When you see pictures is one thing, but when I actually walked to the restaurant, physically saw with my own eyes, I was enraged, Nguyen told CBS News. I was upset. Nguyen is just one of countless Americans who suffered a family loss during COVID-19. He said his feelings towards the call to end the state's mask mandate was personal. Now, thank you, Pincalo, by the way. Kamala said it wasn't going to stop. Yeah, no, it's not. And Democrats are cheering it on. Except when it's some guy who looks like this asshole. Because then they're going to try to find a way to tie it to Trump. Nguyen is just one of countless Americans who... Okay, now, this gentleman... Hello, Jedi Ghost Bear. This gentleman who owns a business... he's absolutely entitled to his opinion. I disagree with him on the mask mandates. I think the masks are doing nothing. But does this guy have a right to say what he's going to say without having his business vandalized? Now, I'm not going to even speculate if this is a false flag. I'm pretty unlikely. But this guy, just like people who don't want to wear masks, if he wants masks to happen, then that's his business. People from San Antonio don't do stuff like that. We're a tight-knit community. They thought it was legitimate because I'm Asian American, he said. Somehow this whole pandemic is Asian Americans' fault. No, nobody thinks that. No. Nobody thinks it's Asian Americans' fault. It's a country's fault. And you are not that country. But San Antonio police said they had not made any determination on the designation as of Monday, but Nguyen urged he is not going to give up. I'm not going to give up, he said. I had 2 bouts with cancer. It's going to take more than some paint on my window to rattle me. Indeed, violence against Asian Americans has sharply increased since COVID-19 began spreading across the country a year ago. And I'm still, violence against everybody has gone up. And if there are actually targeted cases against Asians because they're Asian, well, fuck the assholes who do that shit. If this happened to this guy, if this is all true, fuck the assholes who do this shit too. And if this guy wants to wear a mask or he wants to have, mask where he is, then okay, so what? I disagree. Can we disagree without fucking people up, without messing with people's businesses, without messing with people's lives? And anybody, just stop that shit. Somebody X'd out, atheist icon. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it was fake. I'm not gonna, and I'm not gonna speculate. Let's see. I want to see something real quick. There's no indication that this one. Okay, so they did it over. They put the paint over the front of his house. We'll find out. It'll come out soon enough if it's not real, but I'm going to assume it's real until otherwise. Because there's nothing on this one. Look, on this one, if he appeared on CNN and then people started doing this after he appeared on CNN, I have no reason not to believe it. It happened after he appeared on CNN. 3 days after his appearance on CNN. So I think it's possible. It's not all on the window. It's also on the metal. But mostly on the windows. But it's also on the benches out in front of his place. I wonder if there's any security cameras around there. I guess we'll find out. Now, speaking of wokeness, we're moving on. Hello, MC. How you doing? Whoops. Whoops. There.
Stop. Hammer time.
There we go. Let's get that right. Black Lives Matter activists indicted for using over $450,000 in donations for personal use. Oh no. You know, there's a whole lot of talk about that 90 something million dollars that Black Lives Matter has raised. And I'm sure, different splitter groups have also raised tons and tons of money for Black Lives Matter. I'm wondering what conservatives watch CNN. That's a good point, MC. Good point. Okay, it's still. Well, this particular activist has spent the money in a very interesting thing. Black Lives Matter activist Tyree Conyers Page was charged by a federal grand jury in Cleveland, Ohio, with 3 counts of money laundering and 1 count of wire fraud after it was revealed that he had used over $450,000 in donations to his Facebook page for personal use, as reported by the Daily Caller. Now, when is this from? March 16th. Okay. Conyers Page created a I'll open that article too, just so you can have that. Conyers Page created a Facebook 501c3 page called Black Lives Matter of Greater Atlanta, through which individuals could donate to what they assumed was a broader BLM organization, but with the funds actually going directly to his personal bank account. According to the indictment, he used this page to defraud individual donors of nearly $500,000 during a 5-month period between May and September of 2020. Conyers Page first created the Facebook page and registered it as a 501c3 nonprofit charity with the IRS back in March of 2016, with donations going to the page ramping up heavily after the outbreak of nationwide race riots following the accidental overdose death of George Floyd. That's some fighting words in American greatness, describing it as that. The trial is still. By the way, the jury, people who've already been seated on the jury in the George Floyd trial, the judges called all of them back because now there's a question of whether or not they would be influenced by the $27 million settlement that the city of Minneapolis has already given to the George Floyd family. Because if they see that, you're thinking, oh, doesn't that make you think that maybe the city of Minneapolis thinks that the cops are guilty of something? That's why they settled for $27 million. So the defense attorneys for Derek Chauvin have requested, and the judge has granted, them to be returned to be questioned some more. So we'll see what happens there. Anyway, so this guy, let's see, He's accused of using unprecedented tensions and uncertainty due to widespread civil unrest in a global pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic. To fill his own bank account, said FBI Special Agent Eric Smith in a press release. This new development follows the previous announcement by the FBI back in September of 2020. The Conyers page had been charged with wire fraud and money laundering after defrauding over $200,000 worth of donations. So anyway, good. Go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect the rest of the $200 that you're milking off of people. And the Daily Car. Oh, for whatever reason, that's a special story. No, there it goes. It's also in the Daily Caller. That article's there too. All right. Going to try to fly through this now. Oh, did I just actually close that? No, I did not. Biden. So Biden did an interview. I don't know what's going with ABC News. I think it's with Stephanopoulos. And he had an interesting possible verbal slip. Some are not. Anyway, Biden stops himself from saying something about women accusers during an ABC interview. President Joe Biden stopped himself as he started to make a comment about women who accuse men of sexual misconduct during an interview, which he discussed sexual misconduct allegations against Democratic New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who has about 30 people saying that. During the interview, Biden told ABC's George Stephanopoulos that Cuomo should resign if sexual misconduct allegations against him are confirmed to be true, adding, I think he'll probably end up being prosecuted too. Interesting. The president said he believed that a woman should be presumed telling the truth and should not be scapegoated and become victimized by her coming forward, and that the allegations should be investigated. Is that true? Isn't it? Tara Reid. What? I'm sorry, did I say something? It takes a lot of courage for a woman to come forward, Biden said Tuesday. Some are not. Anyway, it takes a lot of courage for them to come forward. Let's see if they have a clip of this. Here it is. Let's see how this sounds.
Let me ask you about Governor Cuomo of New York. I know you said you want the investigation to continue. If the investigation confirms the claims of the women, should he resign?
Yes, I think he probably ended up being prosecuted too.
But how about right now? You've said you want the investigation to continue. You saw Chuck Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, majority of the congressional delegation don't think he can be an effective governor right now. Can he serve effectively?
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective. Here's my position. It's been my position since I wrote the Violence Against Women Act. A woman.
Wait, during the what? Wait, what did he say?
Can he serve effectively?
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective. Here's my position.
What did he say? Is that just jumble words?
Majority of the congressional delegation don't think he can be an effective governor right now. Can he serve effectively?
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective.
About their state where they can be effective.
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective.
Right now, can he serve effectively?
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective.
Okay, I don't know what he said there. I think either they had a glitch in their recording or something. But anyone know what the hell he just said? I'm sorry, I don't mean to dwell on this, but what the hell did he say?
Right now, can he serve effectively?
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective.
I have no idea. All right, let's keep going.
My position has been my position since I wrote the Violence Against Women Act.
And what?
Can he serve effectively?
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective. Here's my position. It's been my position since I wrote the Violence Against Women Act.
Oh, since I wrote the Violence Against Women Act. Okay, at least I can understand that part. His jaw did do a weird thing. I don't know what that was. Anyway, let's hear this answer though.
A woman should be presumed to telling the truth and should not be scapegoated and become victimized by her coming forward. Number one. But there should be an investigation to determine whether what she says is true. That's what's going on now.
And you've been very clear. If the investigation confirms the claims, he's gone.
That's what I think happens. And by the way, it may very well be There could be a criminal prosecution that is attached to it. I just don't know, but let the investigate. And I don't know what it is, but I start with the presumption. It takes a lot of courage for women to come forward. Some are not, anyway, it takes a lot of courage.
Some are not what, Joe? Some are not what? Anyway.
Forward. So the presumption is it should be taken seriously. And it should be.
Some are not what, Joe? I want to know what he was going to say in that sense. Anyway. Enough about that. Let's go on because I only got a couple minutes left. Let's see. Michigan court. Oh, this is interesting. And I don't. Let's see. This is the only source, so I haven't seen it yet. But Michigan court, Michigan Secretary of State's absentee ballot order broke the law. Oh, now they say something vindicating Trump's claim. A Michigan judge ruled last week Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson broke state law when she unilaterally issued rules related to absentee balloting, legitimizing a key claim made by the Trump campaign and its legal challenges to the 2020 election. Benson issued several unilateral orders during the 2020 election, including sending absentee ballot applications to all registered voters. She also issued guidance on how to evaluate absentee ballots, a move Michigan Court of Claims Chief Judge Christopher Murray held violated the state's Administrative Procedures Act. And there's a copy of the act in the article here. In the guidance, Benson said slight similarities in signatures on absentee ballots should lead a counter to decide in favor of finding that the voter's signature was valid. Murray ruled Benson violated the law because the guidance issued by the Secretary of State on October 6, 2020, with respect to signature matching standards, was issued in violation of the Administration Procedures Act. I'm glad the court sees Secretary of State Benson's attempts at lawmaking for what they are, clear violations of her authority, Michigan State Representative Matt Hall said in a statement. If she wants to make changes like these, she needs to work with the legislature or properly promulgate them through laws we have on the books. In this case, the Administrative Procedures Act, he continued. Murray's ruling came after Allegan County Clerk Bob Gnetsky sued Benson and the state director of elections, Jonathan Brader, over Benson's order, which Hall described as a mandatory directive requiring local election officials to apply a presumption of validity to all signatures on absent voter ballots. Interesting, but in the big scheme of things, I have one thing to say. Too much, too little, too late to ever try again. Too much, too little, too late. Let's end with being friends. Name the band or the group. I'm sure some of you know that one. There's a lot more articles here. I'll try to just give you some headlines. Biden's intel chief releases 2020 election report confirming Russian and Iranian interference. Yes, we're talking about the Russians again. And Joe Biden made some speech he was talking to somebody saying that, well, we need to look into this. Yes, the Russians and the Iranians interfered. What about the Chinese, though? Did they mention the Chinese? Oh, listen, I'll just give you this. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence released an unclassified report Tuesday detailing attempts by Russia and Iran to interfere in the 2020 general election and sow general distrust in the United States electoral process. How convenient that the ODNI is releasing this report. And just to sow distrust in the United States electoral process. Yes, it's a Russian plot. Blue Anon. The report additionally states, with high confidence, that China didn't deploy any attempts to influence the election for either President Joe Biden or former President Donald Trump, putting it in stark contrast with a previous ODNI report on the subject authored by the Trump administration in August of 2020. How convenient. I am not even going to read this bullshit. Isn't it so convenient, though, that yes, the Russians and the Iranians were trying to, how were they trying to influence the election is my big question. But the China did not do it. China didn't do nothing. You can read the rest of that one on your own. Also, CBS reports DHS has detained 13,000 unaccompanied kids at the border, and they called it a crisis. So CBS News at least is calling it a crisis, because they sure have no idea anywhere else. 13,000 unaccompanied minors. In fact, they had to they're converting the Dallas Convention Center into a facility to house these minors, because the facilities are over 700% above capacity. Holy crap. Let's see. Other articles in here. Twitter purged over 150,000 accounts associated with QAnon over the last several months. Twitter's so cool. So Twitter's cool with your violence, hatred, and conspiracy theories if it belongs to an ideology and not an organization. CBS News found that Twitter purged over 150,000 accounts associated with QAnon since the January 6th Capitol Hill. Since January 6th. Previous reports indicate the social media platform only eliminated 70,000 accounts, so more than twice the number they said. I don't know. You can read this, but it's incredible. And how do they determine if the accounts are associated with QAnon? I'm just curious. But that's how they describe them. Moving on, ABC and PBS. Oh, they haven't. I told you yesterday about the how the Washington Post retracted their claim that Trump told someone at the the Georgia State Secretary of State to find the fraud. Remember we read that article yesterday? Well, apparently ABC and PBS didn't find that newsworthy, despite ABC and PBS amplifying the fake Washington Post story about Trump pressuring election investigators to find the fraud on air. The networks have refused to cover the story's retraction. Didn't even mention it. Not even mention it. What are you talking about? They retracted. Well, we don't need to talk about that because we already told this story. On ABC's Good Morning America program, correspondent Elwin Lopez repeated the claims of the corrected Washington Post story on January 10th. And the president's false claims of voter fraud continue to be in the headlines. In a late December phone call, President Trump encouraged an election official here in Georgia to, quote, find the fraud. But at no point on Monday's newscast did ABC's World News Tonight correct the record for the viewers. Instead, anchor David Muir talked about the snow in Colorado, touted New Mexico Representative Deb Haaland getting confirmed as the Interior Secretary, and fawned over the Oscar nominations. And now maybe they'll mention it today. Same with PBS. They didn't tell anybody either. Good story about a story about someone who, the blacklisting story is someone who might actually be revealing a hopeful sign because they fought back. You can check that story out in this Behind the Black article. Also, Ted Cruz is also talking about the improper use of military and military resources to attack private citizens and even or Congress people. He's talking about the Tucker story. You can read that story here. Also, California is pushing. I'm going to skip the story, but California has decided to. They're pushing study in Aztec history and religions in the name of ethnic studies. California is soon expected to pass a new statewide ethnic studies curriculum that has as its goal the total, quote, decolonization of American society. It elevates the cannibalistic Aztec religious symbolism across 10,000 public schools that serve 6 million students. And the architect behind the movement is someone named R. Tolteca Chautin, the original co-chair of the Ethnic Studies model curriculum. In his book, Rethinking Ethnic Studies, cited throughout the curriculum, Chautin argues that the United States is a white supremacist, patriarchal, misogynistic, and anthropocentric state founded as a Eurocentric, land-grabbing, genocidal state that committed theocide against indigenous tribes. What could go wrong? I'm just saying. Irish Rose, how are you? Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm just saying. You can check out that story. The whole story is there. Also, Minneapolis. Oh, and also, this is interesting. I haven't read this. I'm going to maybe check this out this afternoon. Minneapolis teacher diversity bill could push out hundreds of minority educators. It's supposed to be a bill that's supposed to encourage ethnic minority teachers in Minnesota schools, but for whatever reason, it might have the exact opposite effect. You can read that story here. Also, this one, Candace Owens going to be suing Cardi B for doctored tweets and post claims or false claims. Yeah, they were having a Twitter spat yesterday, the last couple of days, and interesting, but you can read about that. And finally, the Grammy Awards ratings were shit, just like every other award show that has been coming up. So those are the stories that are in the tabs. It's time for me to go, people. Hey, thank you for those of you who hung in and saw everything that we did today. If you like what we do on the show, please hit the like button and share the stream out. What is that thing? Hit the share button, share it out on social media. You can follow me on Twitter, Minds Gab, Parler, and CloudHub. I will do notifications there. I'm more active on Twitter and somewhat active on Minds. If you want to interact with me, there's also, if you're watching on replay or haven't seen the whole show today, drop back, watch the rest, and throw a comment down in the comment section. I always appreciate that. By the way, hello, Tazzy. I answered your question if you happen to be watching this particular episode. Finally, if you want to help out with the green, because it is St. Patrick's Day, please feel free to share your green through the links down below and or during the show with SuperChats and or Streamlabs. What did I call? I had a name for the Streamlabs because I don't want to call them SuperChats. The Streamlabs expression opportunities. How's that sound? You can express yourself via Streamlabs. Anyway, I gotta go, gang. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye bye. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Wear some green, drink some green beer, and make some corned beef and cabbage. Bye bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.